Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Rotation. My name is Ashley, aka MiDNiTE, here as always with Kingdom Soldier, and welcoming back not only to The Rotation, but to Minnesota rocker, Dylan Attach Price. He's joined. Applause in the chat. Let's get clapping. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Feels good to be back on the rotation, on Minnesota, everything. So I'm sure we're going to have a nice, fun, exciting episode. A lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Rostermania going down in the last month. I would love to hear like your perspective on that because obviously, as everyone know, well, as most people know, and if, in case you don't, you were an unrestricted free agent and you were an all-star last year. You've been playing lights out. I mean, your whole career, you haven't slowed down at all. So I'm sure you had a lot of teams banging your line, but you
Couple.
chose to stay with Minnesota, and obviously that's amazing. But I would love to hear as much as you want to share about just how that all went down, because I'm sure it was just a lot of decisions to make, a lot of conversations with other players, orgs, coaches, and everything like that. So, excited to hear about that. Kingdom,
Yeah.
I would love like to just let you tee it off with Dylan here. Just your first question. I know me and Kingdom, we talked a lot about once we knew like obviously that all the contracts were out pretty much for RØKKR, like what was gonna happen. And me and Kingdom were both like off air, we're like, they gotta just build around Dylan. Like if they just build around Dylan, we'll be all right, it'll be okay. Everything's gonna be great. And then that's what ended up happening. So Kingdom, I'll leave it to you because I know you're just as hyped as me to have Dylan back.
No, yeah, it's like it's one of those things where, I mean, first of all, congratulations, welcome back, Dylan. I know
Thank you.
even your mom was telling me like she was, she really likes the RØKKR, so it's like a match made in heaven. Yeah, I was really like, wait, if Kim Price isn't like going to be in the chat this year, I'm not doing the rotation. No, but
yeah, they're down. I think my parents are downstairs watching right now, so they're always watching every week or every time you guys do an episode.
President. Yeah,
shout out
president of the league. No, but like honestly, bro, like it's great to see you back. I think I had mentioned before. I made like a short or something on YouTube, but it was like when I saw you at Champs, you looked like you were busy. You had a lot going on, and I'm sure like mentally, like this has been a lot. And so like one of my first questions for you is like, what was the process like for you of deciding and determining to stay in Minnesota, and what kind of led to that decision?
Yeah, the most important thing I knew going into all like the roster talks with different players, different teams is like I just want to be able to team with the best players I could possibly to have the highest chance of winning tournaments and always being in contention to win tournaments, and like always playing on Sunday, just being right there. So that was like my number one goal and like the most important thing going into the Rostermania. Kind of sucked that we did bad at Major 4, which meant we didn't qualify for Champs, because then we just had a couple weeks until Champs. And it was just like, you can't really do anything. You can't really talk to anyone because most of the good players are still in, already playing and practicing for the tournament. So it was a lot of just like sitting there and just like, dang. Yeah. But
Dang.
when the time came and it was time to make roster moves and like start talking to people, I was actually in Hawaii when it happened. So it was a little trip, but it was it worked out pretty well with the time zone and being able to talk to a bunch of different players and stuff. So I was talking to a couple of different teams, a bunch of different players. And then when I had the chance to team with Cammy, Afro, Bance, like it was just I couldn't say no to that roster because I really don't know if I could have got a better roster than that. So I was just super thrilled to be able to have that team on Minnesota. It was just perfect because it was a stressful time trying to figure out like, oh, I want to play with this player, but this player doesn't want to play with this player. This player wants to play with this player, but not this player. So like there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, and it's just a lot. It's just a lot.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, like stress meter, right? Like 1 to 10. How does this compare to other Rostermanias that you've been a part of in your career?
This one definitely was. They're always stressful. This one was stressful in a different way because I did have a good season. I've been playing pretty well, so I did have a lot of offers, which is always nice. You don't have to worry about like, am I going to be in the league? What am I going to do? Right. So that's like always something very stressful and a very real thing for people that are in not just esports, but regular sports and jobs and everything. Everyone knows, like, when your job's on the line, you might not have a job anymore. Like, you know how it goes and everything you think of. But yeah, I was just trying to build the best team possible, and I was talking to a lot of players, and I was trying to team with this player, but this player didn't really want to play with this player, or this player is under contract, so I would potentially have to join this team to play with this player. This other player is under contract, so we're trying to buy them out if we could. But like, there was just so much that goes into it with like contracts and everything, especially because all the teams are going to want to keep their really good players. They're not going to want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So it's like you really don't have very many realistic options. But when you are an unrestricted free agent, you can go anywhere without any hassle. Like, you just go join a team, sign up or sign the contract, you're in, like that. But I wanted to stay on Minnesota because they're a fantastic org. So like I said earlier, when we got that roster, I was like, all right, bet, let's lock it in and let's get it.
So when, like, Cammy, Afro, and Bance, right? Like, I mean, phenomenal roster. Like, I'm really excited to see you guys play. The moment that the roster was announced or even teased, I was kind of like, okay, this is really good. Like, I feel like the vibes, the first thing I thought was the vibes are going to be great on this team. Like, the vibes are literally good. Like, I can't wait for your listen-ins. I can't wait for the behind the comms. Like, your guys' vibes are going to be great. Like, what were the priorities when trying to form this roster that led to, like, you joining up with these 3 EU players? Like, what was it that was important that had you put this team together specifically?
Yeah, so I talked to Afro earlier. Like, I even messaged him before Champs a little bit, like, yo, good luck at Champs. But let me know after, like, what you're doing, what your plans for the offseason are. So I sent that message to him early, and I really didn't I actually talked to him probably like the latest out of the other teammates, the other teammates that we have now. I talked to Cammy pretty early on in Rostermania, just kind of seeing like what he's thinking. Even before I think he officially knew if he was like not on Toronto. So I was just kind of like planting some seeds and kind of pick people's brains, see what they're trying to do, what happens if this situation happens, if they get released, or if they continue with this player, who are they looking to team with? And then Bance got released as well. So we were talking to him, and he was always super down to team with me. And I think teaming with Ben is really good because he's been around. He's been a pro player for a long time, and he just has a good head on his shoulders. He is a really good team player too in game. He has great communication. He knows how to set his team up to win and like set his players up to be the superstars that they are. So that's super important because not a lot of teams have a player that's willing to like, I guess, sacrifice their KD or their flashiness in the game to set other people up. It's very rare that happens. So to have a player like him who's still really good and still super clutch and always just contending and being in those top 3, top 4 teams is great. I think you got Cammy and Afro who are just insanely talented.
Yeah.
And I think everyone knows like how good they are, but I think having the right people around them, they could even be better and reach new levels in game. So that's going to be, I just can't wait to like, help them develop as a team and just try and be the best we could be.
That's awesome, man. I can hear your excitement, and the way you talk about your teammates is like, it's refreshing. And I'm really like looking forward to seeing what you guys do this season. Like, and you've never played with any of these guys, right?
No, never. I've never played with any of them.
Is there like, do you already feel like everything is jiving together really well? Like, what's the state of the RØKKR, so to speak? Like, what's the feeling on the team and
what's the vibe,
in the office?
man?
What's the vibe?
Well, we're in a WhatsApp group chat together because I think everyone's back home. Because I think Cammy's, I think he's from Scotland. I don't know if he's home or in Toronto still right now. And then Ben and Marcus are in the UK. But we would just be texting in the chat a little bit, just random stuff. But we haven't really like talked too much like through a phone call or anything, except for when we're like forming the roster. But well, yeah, we just been chilling, vibing, saying, "Oh, we should play some games here and there," or just sending whatever. You know how group chats go.
Yep.
How the people be talking in group chats. So we're just having a good time. But I do think that we're gonna get along really well outside of game, and then inside of game, I know they just are focused on Call of Duty and focused on improving. So it's gonna be fine there too, because they just wanna win and get better. So it's gonna be just a really smooth. Just everything is gonna go really well.
Yeah, I agree. And before I pass it, back to MiDNiTE, like I think it's a testament to the culture, and I know you've been a part of that, right? Like the culture that's been built in Minnesota, the culture of content, the culture of how they support you guys as players, and having a facility working on local. Like it's weird that not more teams have done this, but like the watch parties and having local fans and be like I can imagine that when it's in season, right? And there's like a land coming up and you're walking around town, like people like recognize who you are. And I just think it's really cool what Minnesota is doing. And I'm excited to see even these EU guys and how they vibe with Minnesota overall. Although it's kind of funny, like, who's the strongest in the North? Well, it's like, well, there's not really a question anymore. It's like, you just like, oh, just come over here and then root for us against them. Like, I think Minnesota kind of won the strength in the North, over Toronto. But yeah, I'm excited for the team.
Same.
Yeah,
Same.
I'm absolutely stoked. I was super excited. Obviously when we heard that we're for sure gonna have you back, Dylan. And I think, how many times in your career have you kind of been like the build around piece where you have a lot of say? I mean, as you've played, you're obviously very good, but as you've played and established yourself in this community, I think a lot of organizations, trust you to help put the pieces together around you to find the most success. So how many times have you had the opportunity to do that? And what do you look for in teammates that you want to play? Like, did you just play against Afro last year and you're like, okay, he's cracked, like I would definitely want to team with him? Or like what's the thought process like, and how many times have you been able to do that before?
Not really too often in Call of Duty did I or anyone really gets to like build a team. It's very rare. So I wanted to make the most of it when I had this opportunity, especially in the CDL now, because like I was on a lot of the same teams and only switched out like one player here and there for a while. So I really didn't ever have to build a team, maybe except when I was like EG. That was a different scenario where I was kind of just like coming back into the league and had to like build a roster from scraps. But to build a team with like really sought after players like Ben, Cammy, Afro, or Marcus, it felt good because everyone was trying to get these players too. So to be able to actually like secure them on the team, it was like, okay, like a really good feeling. Like they want to be here. They want to play with me. They want to be in this org, and they want to be a team. So that's just in itself, getting it done and is a really good feeling because people can switch up a lot. So you never know how Rostermania goes. But I mean, we've been playing against Cammy and Bance for years. Bance especially, because I think went pro in like AW. And he's been here ever since. So it goes to show like he still has it. He still has the fire, and he's still going hard. Cammy, I mean, we've played against him a ton. They beat us, we've beat them. But he's been like the best player in the game in certain games. But he's still kind of on the younger side of his career because he's only been pro for I think like four years, which it's a good amount. It's like that, like an average in Call of Duty. But like I said earlier, I think he still has like more levels to hit, and he's just going to get better and better. And then Afro, everyone knows how talented he is ever since he got into the league in like Cold War. And he played on London. Their team wasn't that good, but he played really well individually. And you can kind of see like with the plays he's making where he's popping a crazy 3-piece or just doing something really good on the map. And then even in Vanguard, he played really well again. So he's just a big like question mark of how good he can really get, because we've seen how good he is, but how much further can he push it and become as an individual? So I've only heard good things about these players too, because players talk to each other. Everyone has their own little reps of, oh, this player doesn't really try, or this player has this kind of issue, or something outside of game, whatever. But I know with all this team and all these players that I haven't really heard any bad things about them, whether it's like work ethic or communication or just dedication to like the game and practice. So I've only heard good things about them, and that's a good sign.
It's funny that you say that because when I was, watching the video that was on Minnesota's channel, like I was so thankful. I was like, look at this content already. I'm so happy. Like I was watching the video and like Afro and I believe it was Cammy both said like, I've never heard anything bad about Minnesota, and you're right. I haven't heard any drama or anything like that about any of these three players. Like, and Vance has been playing for a long time. I mean, a lot of people arguably say he's the best EU player ever, and so it's very impressive that all these players that have low drama or no drama, like yourself, came to a team that kind of embodies that culturally. And I think there's just so much synergy here, man. It's gonna be a really good year.
I'm freaking
Yeah.
stoked, man. When do you guys? I mean, obviously, you guys have been chatting so far, and there's not a lot to like do or play. But the beta's happening in a couple weeks. Are you? I mean, I think we're also excited to play the beta every year, and then we play the beta, and we're like, yeah, I'm just like, let's get the full game. Do you guys intend to kind of grind the beta together? Do you like to do that, or are you just kind of like, give me the full game, and I'll suss it out then?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be playing the beta each individually. I'm sure. I know a couple of them are in the UK, so it probably would be tough to play together with the internet because one of us would be on like 150 plus ping, and it's never fun when you're playing Call of Duty and you're just getting ghost bullets and people are lagging and everything. So I mean, we might try and play together, but yeah, we're just excited to play the new game, see the new maps, new guns, and just everything. It's just a whole new. That's one of the best parts about Call of Duty. It's a new game every year. So if the last game was trash or the last game was amazing, you're switching it up. So you just got to hope the next game is good. And it's always exciting. I mean, they get us every year with it. They get us all hyped up, and then we buy the game, and we just got to hope for the best.
Yeah, I maybe I'm biased, or maybe it's the name of the game that's tricking me because it's Modern Warfare 2, and that's obviously one of my favorite Call of Duties of all time, the original one from 2010. But yeah, I mean, it's familiar. The all the loadout stuff that you're gonna be able to get looks really cool. Like the game looks cool, but I think it comes down to like competitively, how does it play? Like what are the weapons like? Are the maps good? And from there you just grind, I guess. But I'm excited to just kind of start to catch the vibe, get you guys in some content, right? Get it going together. I mean, we answered this in our initial press conference when we announced the team. But so you guys will be coming to Minnesota to live in Minnesota, but probably not till like the midpoint of the season. Where are you guys going to be in the meantime? Let everyone in the chat know kind of what's the plan for the team to be together. How you guys going to start building the chem and staying together for matches and whatnot?
The plan is for like the first 6 months or just the first half of the season to live in Dallas, to pretty much avoid the Minnesota winter. That's pretty much what it is. And then, yeah, Dallas is nice. There's a lot of other players there, too, and a lot of other teams. So it'll be really good for getting scrims and just being on, like, the same ping. So that will make things pretty easy for scrims and everything like that. And then when you live nearby and close to each other, you can go to someone's apartment, watch some VOD, or just do whatever. Go get food, whatever you want to do together. And then after, right around the springtime, halfway point in the season, we're planning on moving to Minnesota to be there for like the spring, summertime, and then just be able to go to the facility, practice there, because the facility is amazing, and it's always fun to go play and practice there. It's just I don't know, just a cool feeling to not be in your apartment playing and actually somewhere where it feels like to really get locked in and go to work.
Get to go to work. Dude, we miss seeing you at HQ. I know you'll be back. You were like clockwork. I think it was like every day around like 2 or 3, you'd come out and heat up your lunch.
Yep.
And yeah, you just
after scrims, or after the
rhythm.
first scrim.
Yep, get your lunch. But yeah, it'll be great to get kind of a new cast of characters. I mean, at this point, you've been with RØKKR for, this will be year
My
3,
third, yep.
season 3, right? And now, I think the control that you've been able to have over the roster, and obviously that's not to say you did it all, because there was a tremendous amount of work from Brian, Looney and Jake, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a celebration to have you back. So let's get into talking about some of the other rosters. I was a little nervous because I heard you were hanging out with Seth in Hawaii. I don't know if that's true or not.
No, I wasn't. We were there at the same time. But no, yeah, I wasn't. I was OpTic attached for like 24 hours, according to social media. Everyone's social media had me as OpTic attached for 24 hours, so that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious. No, it was kind of funny watching that all go down. You had the infamous hot tub pic. You were vibing. Everything's kind of going down while you're on vacation. you know, with the confirmed rosters that we have, there seemed to be like a really weird bit with OpTic that I don't think I've ever seen. Obviously, while I was with the team for 9 years, I don't remember anything like this happening. But it seemed like, you know, they gave farewell posts to Dashi and to Illy, I believe. I hope I'm not getting them mixed up. I get the names mixed up. No,
No,
they were
you
going to
got
keep
it.
Shotzi and Seth.
Yeah.
And that, like, I'll tell you what, OpTic does not do that unless they're gone. They don't
Yeah.
troll. They don't, like, it's no troll. They weren't
Yeah.
farming impressions. So, like, but then the next day, or was it the next day and a half? I'm not sure.
Yeah, next day and a half.
Next day, like, less than 48 hours later, they say back. They're like, psych, we're running it back. Which I thought was kind of like a not a typical. I mean, I guess if they're sticking, there's not really a big hubbub to make about it. But I figure that, you know, they usually like to do announcements really kind of secretive and really dope content to make announcements. But this was a cool photo. You know, I love the edit on it. But there must have been a crazy 24 hours there for a little bit. I was really nervous for 24 hours. And I think, you know, hearing about this, it kind of proves to me, like, I think a lot of people thought they were just farming impressions because everything about, you know, those tweets got just so much. But what do you make of them, you know, potentially deciding to move off of, you know, Illy and Dashi, and then ultimately something fell through and they're like, psych, we'll run it back. Do you think that could affect OpTic negatively? And what do you make of them sticking? Do you think that's a good move?
Yeah, it was really interesting because I was like, okay, like Dashi's on the market now, Illy's on the market now. Like,
that changes a lot.
Yeah, things are about to get crazy in Rostermania. So I'm still talking to players and teams, and then the next day I just see they tweet that they're back on the team. So I was like, wait, like, did they just troll everyone or not? But like, that's not something you really troll about because that'd just be like a really weird thing to say. This is an unrestricted, or this is a restricted free agent right here. Like, you guys can buy him or he can join another team. Like, that's just not something you would troll about, and that could definitely hurt the chemistry of a team if it's like that. But from the outside looking in, I think it's more so was just like they wanted to make a change, and then something happened, and they're like, okay, but actually, never mind, we probably shouldn't. And then they just brought it back and didn't make a change. So it's hard to say if it's going to affect them negatively or positively. It could go either way. Like, if they do bad off the start or things aren't clicking, they're not having a good chem outside a game or even during practice, it could hurt them. But also, you could look at the other way where it could light their fire. Like, oh, these guys, I was kind of on the chopping block or whatever. These guys wanted me gone. So it's going to light someone's fire that much more to like improve as a player, as a team and everything. So it could go both ways, but it definitely is going to be crazy to see how it plays out. Like, if they do good off the start, they're going to need to. If they do bad, then I think it's going to really take a toll on them because they already know, like, oh, we were kind of gone for 24 hours and then we got off to a bad start, a rocky start. So where do we go from here?
That, what you just said, is the part that stands out for me, is the bit of doubt that comes in if they perform poorly to start the season. Like, we had a different team for 24 hours, but we decided to run it back, and dang, we made a mistake. Like, I don't know how you don't have those thoughts. It's got to be tough when, and I know you've been through a million roster manias. You've seen rosters that of rosters that never existed, that none of us will ever know were gonna exist. And so it's like, I hope some of you guys write books one day and just talk about what it was like to be a CDL pro.
Dude, I would read the hell out of a Dylan Attached Price book.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll listen to the audiobook probably.
It wouldn't be too interesting. It wouldn't be too interesting. What? Don't worry.
It would though. You're a professional gamer, bro. Like, honestly, like. But when I think about that team, I'll just say, because I've shared my opinion publicly, I think keeping Illy was interesting. That's all I'll say. I won't say it was bad. I just think it was interesting. Keeping Dashi, again, I understand that he has his own challenges as a teammate. Those are all, when that stuff surfaces a little bit, you know that behind the scenes, it's actually a bigger problem even than you hear about. And so it's like, whatever his challenges are behind the scenes, that's a legit challenge. That's a legit problem that they had with Dashi. And it sounds like, as you put all the pieces together, like they actually are going to drop him. Seth got back in town, immediately got on the phone with both of them. They talked it out. They figured it out. But then it's coming out that Formal was trying to tell them to keep Dashy because Formal and Dashy used to always get along, and they still get along and vibe together. The Illy piece is interesting to me only because he has like a legitimate ailment, and this isn't a rub towards Illy. Illy is a beast. Like watching this dude play in IGL on one of the greatest franchises in the history of Call of Duty was amazing, you know, but he has a legitimate ailment that I don't know if he's in the mind state to accurately say when he's good or bad, you know, because he's a good player and wants to keep playing. And so you're putting him in a position to basically lie to the team if he is having pain and be like, yeah, I can play. Or they need a legitimate, really good sub that is going to actually be able to help them perform at the same level when Illy's not available, which is really hard to replace, which is why I thought replacing Illy was a good idea. And it's the same reason I know we're going to talk about FaZe. I have my thoughts on that one too, but it's like, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens to OpTic to start the season. They did tweet this before they technically could tweet it. Like you couldn't really announce your roster when this was tweeted. And so, I mean, is it official? Sure, you know, because as long as it's official with the league and they've submitted the roster, then it's official, you know, and it's legit. But I do know that they still have to be looking for solutions. Rambo probably wasn't vibing with bringing Dashy back, but they're bringing Dashy back. So there's going to be a little bit of drama internally that if anybody can overcome it, yes, OpTic can. And, you know, that's what we'd all love to see. We don't want to see a disgruntled, frustrated OpTic for a year. You know, nobody, like World War II, nobody wants to see that again. And so I hope they figure it out. Like, to be blatantly honest, I think running it back is something I didn't expect this team to do. I expected at least one person to switch out. Dashy and Illy getting announced like they were was a big shock to me. And I'm sure Dylan actually does know behind the scenes what was happening in terms of the roster part. Because when OpTic is available, and Octane said this in a video, when OpTic has an available spot or somebody from OpTic gets dropped, all other negotiations go out the window.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like,
of course.
How do I get on OpTic, or how do I play with Dashy? How do I play with Illy? Like, how do I play with Scump? That's all that happens. Everything else is out the window. And so I'm glad they're giving it a try. I hope it works out, to be blatantly honest. And it's an interesting play.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. Definitely is. But yeah, when OpTic gives you an offer, you just go there. You know, you go there. That's all it really is.
Yeah,
that's all that really happens. If they offer you in Call of Duty, you join their team.
Yeah. It was so interesting to me how it all kind of went down. And I won't echo a lot of what Kingdom said, but I definitely agree. Like I expected a change. And so when it looked like it was going to happen, I was like, okay, that's crazy. And then nope, psych, just kidding. Let's talk about Arcitys moving off FaZe to Lag, the Gorillas. This was one that I feel like a lot of people talked about or expected. But I'm still just kind of surprised at kind of the way that it went down. He got signed to 3 years to LAG. This is the first year that you're allowed to do as an org 3-year contracts instead of, you know, just 1+1, so a potential 2-year. What do you guys think about LAG just saying, hey, Arcitys, you're here, we'll give you the long term. I think they gave another player a long term as well.
Yeah, Spart.
So Spart, yeah, they gave Spart. Like that was kind of crazy to me. So not to get too into like contracts and get in their business and stuff, but just what did you make of that move? Did you expect FaZe to make a change? They were in umpteen grand finals this past season. They couldn't get over the hump. Did you expect them to make that change, and were you surprised to see Arcitys move to Lag?
Once FaZe got second at champs, I didn't think they were going to make a change, but there's been clips and stuff, and they've been talking like it wasn't anything to do with gameplay. With the reason they made the change, but it was just outside of game, personal issues, and things they just felt like they needed to change. So it's hard to say, especially with a team that dominated Cold War, got second pretty much every tournament in Vanguard, which is pretty impressive in itself. If any other team except for FaZe got second, they would be getting gassed up. But since everyone expects FaZe to win at least a couple of the events, like it was a bad year for them. But yeah, I didn't really expect it. That for them to change like that, and then to go to LAG, that's kind of weird for Alec, because he went from a team like Sim, Selling, Mabizi, 3 like the best Call of Duty players of all time, and still like the best at the moment, and to go kind of teaming with Hugh, Neptune, and Spart, to where he's gonna have to, like, they're talented, but he's gonna have to really be extreme leader for them and like point them in the right direction because they're still pretty young on that roster, and so it's gonna be. I don't know how it's gonna go with that team over there, but I'm sure like Alex gonna probably have a lot more control or say. I don't really know. It's a big switch up. I mean, for any player though, from just teaming with Simp, Selling, Mabizi, no matter what other three you go to, it's a downgrade. Like it just is what it is.
Yeah, that's tough.
I think he wanted that control. I think that Arcitys, went from being on the Huntsman where, you really play around Seth, which is smart. Not saying that's a bad idea. I think that Arcitys loves to be in IGL. I think that he didn't always line up with Simselium and Abizi on what to do. I think regardless of, and this, Dylan, but to your point about getting gassed up or whatever, like you got a lot of you guys, like you love to win. Like second place is great, but winning is better. If you would have pulled off the almost RØKKR reverse, it wouldn't be as memorable to you or to anyone else. Yeah, exactly. It's like winning matters. And I think that when this team stopped winning, I was one of those people. Like, I was like, yeah, to me, the dynasty stuff has kind of gone out. Like, it's not the same. And Nameless was like, no way, dude. They got second place. And I was like, I get it. You as a pro player, you're going to see this different. I said, but when it came to this trade, Arcitys is not a villain and didn't want to be a villain. Simp kind of didn't like it, but Simp selling him in Abizi, they almost and getting Slasher just made so much sense. Like he will fall in line. He's Thanos. He's gonna go over there and be like, we're gonna just beat all of you guys. And giving Slasher a winning team like this and these players, oh my gosh, his Twitter is gonna. It was silent for like 2 months to end the season, but he's gonna be tweeting a lot more now with these teammates. And I saw somebody, I don't know if it was Nameless. I think it was Nameless. He said, you got blessed. Take advantage of it, Slasher.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when you're an AR and you just and this is the squad that you end up getting only because it didn't work out with Alec. I just really think Alec didn't want to be a villain anymore, man. And he could, he mentioned in a couple of videos, FaZe videos, that he was unhappy. He didn't even like doing the content. Like he didn't vibe with it, and you'd see on these content pieces, he'd be sitting there not answering and just laughing, and it was cool and it was actually funny and it was a meme. But I think he's going to a place where he has more control. He gets to determine the way they play, what they do on the map. He's probably the smartest guy on the team. And so he gets to walk in that and be a leader. And I think Alec wants to be a leader. Think about what he's accomplished. He's made more money than anybody else in Call of Duty history already. And so he's now going to a team probably with a fat bag for 3 years and gets to have control of a franchise. And so, I think with the unhappiness piece, it makes sense that he made this decision.
Well, and speaking of control as well, he's going to LAG to presumably have more of that. Slasher is a player. You always see him as the captain of a team, the centerpiece that you build around. I remember all the way back to year 1 of RØKKR when we were trying to build the roster. He was high up on our list to build around. Same with you, Dylan. We called you year 1.
Yeah, we had
it took till year 2. Yeah, we were talking.
A couple talks.
We were chatting.
But we made it happen later down the line.
We got you. Hey, we're going into year 3. Hey, it worked out how it should.
Yeah, it all worked out.
Slasher's a great player to build around. He is someone who strikes me, and maybe this is, obviously I've been following Call of Duty esports for, I don't even want to say how long, too long. And so I've seen Slasher come onto the scene, kind of grow up in front of all of us, just like so many others. And so, he's a very hard-nosed leader. He's a grinder. He's very good. And I'm really interested to see, he kind of did his thing with LAG this past year. They won. They won the Minnesota Major. And I think it was due in part to his strong leadership. So he's going over to a very well-established roster with FaZe, Selim Abizi, Simp. I think he's gonna fit right in, right? Like we're talking about. He's obviously very good, and he's got 3 very good players around him as well. But I do wonder if this FaZe roster's issue with their previous leader was just the out of game leadership style. I'm looking at things on CDL Intel, so who knows if it's true, but I'm just wondering how they're going to adjust to having a new kind of a strong personality like Slasher. And I wonder, is it going to push FaZe over the edge and become a #1 team? What do you guys think? We'll start with Dylan. What do you think? Do you think that adding Slasher to FaZe like really revs them up a lot, or is it like, we kind of need to see how it goes?
I think it will be good for the team. It's always good when it's time to make a change. Things aren't going too well. People aren't getting along. Like, it's good to switch some things out and get a fresh start, even if it's just one player. And I think Austin is a good fit for that team because all he really cares about is just Call of Duty and winning. So I think he's just going to fit right in and just go hard. And he knows how lucky and blessed he is for that opportunity he got to join that roster that he did. So he's going to make the most of it for sure. I think he's going to go there, be a leader, of course, but he probably isn't going to be too, like, I know people can say he's like toxic and stuff at times, but I think he's going to realize like the players he has around him and just give it his all. Because, I mean, he gets the team with 3 of the most talented players in Call of Duty. So I think he's going to try and make the most of it for sure and not try to cause too many issues like we've seen some in the past.
I have to agree, and no lie, like for Slasher, he's now thinking in his head, like, I could get 3 to 6 more chips over the next 2 years. Like this changes the whole trajectory of the end of his career, and like getting to play with these players. I mean, and Dylan said it best. Like, I mean, I think he's going to make the most of it too. Like, it would kind of, I mean, I hate to say it would kind of be stupid not to. Like, it's like a great opportunity for anyone in the league. There's no AR that this wouldn't be a great opportunity for a team of players that got second at all but one event last year.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. I don't like looking at this picture, Shannon. Take it off the screen. Now, we got this, dude. We could beat them. We could totally beat them, man. RØKKR have always been
FaZe's kryptonite. It'll be,
No,
that is true, bro. We beat them on LAN multiple times, dude. And now, and I'm super stoked. I think, I mean, obviously I'm very excited for Bance and Afro, but knowing that Cammy and you, Dylan, are going to be on the same team, like, that's trouble, dude. That is trouble for anyone they're going up against. So I'm super, super stoked on that. So let's talk about here. So veteran players that are rumored to not have a spot. This is mind-blowing to me, but at the same time, I know Kingdom, like, dude, Crim and Clay were like your dudes.
Hurts, bro.
And now who's going to be your team that you ride or die for that's not RØKKR? Last year was NYSL because it had Clay and Crim.
Honestly, it'll just be Minnesota probably.
Let's go. Hey, we have two
he's
cool
100%
vets
bought
on our
in.
team. He's all the way there now.
He's back.
But so Crim and Clay, and then we have Gunless on this list too. But let's focus on Crim and Clay. Unrestricted free agents. I believe maybe Clay's not. I might be mistaken. I'm not sure on the contract side of things.
I think he is. Unrestricted too. Yeah.
That is really not good. All right. So we've got these two Call of Duty legends, Crim6, the Call of Duty GOAT, not my GOAT. My GOAT's Scump, but I mean attached. That's what I meant.
Hey, there we go.
Just kidding. But yeah, so I mean Crim6, the winningest player in Call of Duty history, free agent, and he did some stuff on NYSL last year. Obviously, they had some struggles. I think we all knew that him and Clay could not be on the same team successfully for very long, or at least that was my kind of inclination when we heard about that. And that was chalked from the start. And now both of them are having a hard time, getting rosters. Are we able to pull up the tweet from Clay, Shannon? I thought this was really impactful. Thought I saw it in the assets list. Otherwise, I could. There you go. Shout out Shannon B, producer extraordinaire for the rotation. Shout out Will in the chat as well, who helps get this show together. Shout out to the producers. But Clayster said in this tweet, "The grief this last week has made everything else seem insignificant, and I've neglected to secure employment for next year. Looking like playing is chalked due to offers falling through. If anyone has a job opportunity, let me know and I'll get back to you as soon as I can." So he is just very candid here in this tweet saying, like, it's not working. I'm not going to get on a team. He used the word neglected, and I don't know if that was just a misuse of the word or if he purposely, like, didn't try very hard to get on a team, or if he just thought teams would come calling, right? But I'm just, it feels weird, man, to not potentially have Clay or Crim in the league this upcoming year. I can't picture them playing challengers. I know Clay just did, just to kind of finish out the year, and probably hope that he would get on a new org this season. But there they are, just still unrestricted free agents. Dylan, I'll go to you first. What the hell, bro? What do you make of that? Like, is it the new kids are coming up and we want to try something new? Or is it like a reputational thing? What do you think like forces this kind of move out for certain vets to become free agents like this at the beginning of the next season?
For everyone, it's like different reasons, I think, because it's not just like the new young kids coming in. There's still a lot of old pro players or retired pro players that are coaches, managers, GMs for teams and stuff. So it's not like it's just new people coming in. But yeah, it's different for people because like with Crim, I think a lot of people just think he burns bridges. That's like the new thing. Like Crim 6 burns all his bridges and people just don't want to deal with him. With Clay, Clay's like, I think Clay was like, he said he was like in talks with multiple teams and stuff, and it was looking like he's going to be in the league. So Clay, I don't really know exactly what happened with like the negotiations with the teams, because I mean, we're never going to know what happened because it's all between Clay and them. So yeah, Clay, it seemed like he was going to be in the league and he's not anymore, which is really, really surprising, I'd say, because I expected him to get picked up, especially being an unrestricted free agent, because he could just go and join a team.
For sure, have a buyout
there's no buyout like that.
It's easy. Yeah. It's as easy as possible to pick up Clay right now. Yeah. And teams still aren't doing it, which is just shocking to me.
But yeah, to see like both of them, if they don't end up getting the league, that would be really weird to just not have Crim 6 and Clayster be playing Call of Duty professionally anymore, because they're just a couple legends in the scene. So that's just going to be weird. It's just not going to feel like the same, especially because they've been here since the start of it pretty much.
Yeah.
And they've built up, they've made history, so many wins, so many memes, so many just crazy stuff that they've done throughout the years. It's just like kind of weird to if they're not playing professionally anymore.
I've like already decided, like Clay and Crim, when I used to do content, I did these things called COD profiles, and like Clay and Crim were two of the first ones I did. I think Clay was the second one after Neslo, funny enough. But like I want to make some, I've already started having some behind the scenes conversations. Like I'd love to be a part of making some content honoring these two dudes. Like what a sucky way to go out, like your career ends in the off season, and here's the funny thing. If New York makes third, second at champs, what happens different for Crim? It's like you get reverse swept, and that puts you in the losers bracket. Like what would have happened if they would have just won that, that first match and gone on? And they almost beat FaZe. Like they had them against the ropes. They were down. They were up 2-0. Like, and it's like choking a reverse sweep might have ended Crim's career. And he said on the awesome content that NYSL made, because they make really awesome content. Like he said in the video, like on champs, he said that he played probably the worst. He said he felt like he played the worst in his career on the last map of potentially his career. And so like, this is weird for me. I'm a Crim and Clay stan. I'm an attached stan. I'm a Scump stan. Like I love all you guys that have been around for a long time. And I think about like when you think about LeBron and you see people that have come into the league after he started and left before he finished. Like this dude has a 20-year career, 10 times to the finals, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Like Crim has that level of a story for Call of Duty. Like when someone asks, like, when you think of the word comeback, it was the CDL tweeted today. What do you think of when you think of the word comeback? I said the RØKKR reverse, Clayster winning back-to-back championships, COD champs after 1,000+ days without a chip it at all. And then what NYSL did this last year, making it to champs. Like Crim and Clay are involved in two of my memorable comebacks in CDL history or Call of Duty history. And it's like, it's really unfortunate that these two guys aren't going to be in the league. And I hope we all give them the flowers they deserve. I hope that they are not like put to the side and pushed down because they didn't do enough. Like Clay, I feel bad for Clay thinking that he might have neglected to, like, what, if it's over, it's over. But like, I think that they deserve any props that we can give them on their way out. I think the league should do some kind of a recognition, like all that stuff that happens, like Kobe getting that whole tour when he was leaving the NBA, like that kind of stuff is deserving of these two guys, I think. And so it'll be unfortunate if they're not in the league. And I I mean, I like both of these guys. I've been able to meet them both in person, and I was really looking forward to watching them play some more, because I think they are of the caliber of a Dylan, of a Slasher, of a Scump, where they can still play in this league for more years. Like, they still have the talent and the ability and leadership ability. So it's unfortunate if they burn bridges or whatever, but if they're out, rest in peace to two of the, all-time greats of Call of Duty.
It's absolutely crazy. I think it's not really Call of Duty esports. I mean, actually, so this is what makes me think like you never know kind of thing. Like Shroud coming in recently and playing for Sentinels, right? Like sorry, the TV just went on behind. Can you guys hear that or no?
No, you're
okay,
fine.
good. It just scared me, bro. My TV just randomly turned on. What the heck? I'm so sorry to interrupt the flow of the podcast, but my TV just turned on out of nowhere.
You probably just have a haunted house. You'll be fine.
Bro, stop! Don't say that. Okay, anyway, focus back
It's probably It's probably a cool ghost.
Yeah, hopefully they're big Attach fans, Scump fans, Cray. I keep calling him Cray, like because I combine their names. Cray, Crayster. Anyway, what I was gonna say was, recently we saw Shroud come back and play for Sentinels for Valorant. Obviously, former CS:GO pro, current content creator, absolute beast at any game he plays. Just a world-renowned esports and video game player. He comes back and he didn't like blow anyone's socks off. I don't think. I think it was really, really impressive to watch him come back after not competing for literal years. But my question is Call of Duty the type of game where do you have to play it all the time to really like stay fresh? Like, let's fast forward to like February or March, and there's some team out there whose AR is shitting the bed, or they're whatever's injured, or they have something happens, they have bad attitude, they gotta go. Someone's AR's gotta go. Definitely not ours, because we have the best people. But if someone's gotta go, do Crim and or Clay, get called back up to come in and clutch up? Do you, from your perspective, Dylan, do you think that is even plausible, or is Call of Duty and being good at the pro level something where they'd have to be like ready and playing in challengers in order to like be ready for that call?
Yeah, they would definitely have to be playing the challengers and like grinding through there, doing well to get called back. But if they're not going to play, they wouldn't just get called back if they haven't been playing. But if they do grind through challengers, I could definitely see it happening for sure. Because in Call of Duty, like, you kind of have to show like you still want to put that effort in, and people think, oh, okay, this guy's still like working hard to try and make his way back into the league. But if you just sit out and don't do anything, people are just going to be like, nah, this guy hasn't been playing the game. Like, he's going to be so far behind. And with how many people that you see like in challengers that are just doing well and winning all the cups or whatever like the big tournament is there, there's just a lot of like, do you take a chance on picking up an older player who hasn't been playing, or do you take a chance on a player that's been playing recently? So that's just the way most people will look at it. So they'll just pick the players that have been grinding and just because it's a new game too. So with Call of Duty, it's not like you're going back to play the same game, because I know with like CS and Valorant, like it's way easier to shoot in Valorant. It's like CS:GO with aim assist. So it's not like that hard to go back. I know there's abilities and stuff, but with Call of Duty, it's a whole new game, whole new movement. So if you aren't playing for 2 months, like, you're going to be very far behind, and it's going to be hard. It could still happen, but it's going to be very hard for a team to want to take a risk on you if you haven't played the game at all.
If I was GM, and this is probably why I'm not GM, but if I was GM, I would bring back Clay as long as he had the ponytail. If he had a ponytail, and I'm looking at players or Clayster, who's been, I don't know, streaming Warzone for the last couple months, I'd be like, all right, bet, come on in here. Listen, I'll be interested to see what they do. Clay mentions here that he's kind of looking for a job opportunity, and previously, as is our duty to do due diligence in the past, RØKKR has actually pretty aggressively at one point. We went after Clayster. This was a long time ago, but he mentioned to us that obviously he wants to play and win. Then he went on to win champs. And he mentioned wanting to have, to still work in the industry or work for an organization. So I think he's a smart guy. I think he'll adapt to that well. But yeah, this is a hard, tough pill to swallow. Maybe after he went back to back, he should have hung it up. You kind of see it with, NFL or NBA athletes too. They don't really you want to finish on top and not kind of fizzle out. And it's really sad to see, you know, two legendary players in Call of Duty just kind of not really getting the shake they want and the opportunity. So it's tough. Kingdom, how will you cope? Will you come to a RØKKR watch party? Come to a watch party,
absolutely.
bro. We'll help you cope.
I mean, everything's opened up. I've been to freaking PAX East, PAX West, Champs. I'm going to TwitchCon. So
let's go.
My travel is I think I have another trip in November. So like my travel has opened up a lot.
Let's go.
And so yeah, I'd love to come to something, anything.
Kingdom.
You know, like, but I honestly will I mean, you know, without OpTic Gaming, nobody would know my name. So, you know, it's like I always am rooting for OpTic. You know, I mean, Hex is the man, and he's helped me a lot personally in my career and everything. And so, like, I value that organization and think that, you know, Call of Duty runs on green batteries. You know, so it's like when OpTic's doing well, technically, there's a lot more. It's like the rising tide lifts all ships. There's a lot more for everybody else. And so, you know, I'll root for them. But honestly, I've always been a player person. Like I root for a specific player. I'm one of those weirdos that's like I hop teams if the player hops teams.
It totally makes sense. I think
it's real common. I think it's real common nowadays.
Right. Like that's, I mean, yeah. Exactly. Well, because you can't stick to a team. Everybody's trading all the time. Like, you, if I was an attached fan, like even for you, you've had a number of teams. If I was a Parasite fan, this is a joke, but you know, Chris, I'm just joking. But like, it's like I'd have like, I don't know, 25 different jerseys, you know? So it's like you can't be a fan of a franchise anymore. It's really like, who do you want to be? And so for me, I will admit, and you know this, you know, MiDNiTE, but yeah, I was fans of both of these guys. Like, honestly, like I like their winning nature. I like that they were able to find ways to win when everybody thought they were done winning. You know, even winning the Pro-Am for Crim last year, like that was cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was, listen, it's not for nothing, right? They're not just, oh, it's over and they're trash. They had historic careers. Like Crim is one of the most decorated FPS players of all time at this point.
In any esport. Of all time. Like
right?
Any
like,
esport, he's up there.
That is nothing to be ashamed of. And I think he should do content personally. I'm obviously very biased. I'm the director of content. I think he's hilarious, bro. Like he just letting his personality be, you know, just be himself and make content. I mean, he should go on to do whatever he wants to do, but I think he'd be great at that. And he's obviously very good at video games, and people like watching people that are very good at video games. All right, with that, let's do some fan cues, Dylan, and then we'll get out of your hair. I know it's the off season. You're trying to relax, spend time with your family.
I'm trying to play Apex.
I'm trying to play Apex.
I'm only gonna play a little. I'm only playing a little bit today. I mean, it's an off day. Or not off day. I still already woke up at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. and played for 2 hours, but it's a chill day, I should say.
It's a chill day. So you mentioned before we started going live on this, what rank are you in Apex? Right now?
Diamond. I just hit Diamond last night.
Wait, what's the highest one?
GG.
It goes Diamond, Master, Predator, I think. Yeah, Diamond, Master, Predator. Yeah, Apex
Predator might be the
top
coolest.
750.
Yeah, that might be the coolest, like, top tier rank name of all time.
Yeah.
Rocket League has Supersonic Legend, which is actually kind of cool.
That's cool.
That's what their top thing is called. They call it SSL, but I call it Supersonic Legend. It's funny. Anyway, looking into the fan question, that's awesome though that you're kind of just enjoying other things. You know, as the off season rolls on. Jackson on Instagram, thank you time. Attach. You going to the first Vikings game this season? Look, yo, I got my Vikings hoodie on. It's NFL. You can't read it. It's black letters, but yeah, I'm not going to the game, but I'm going to be watching it. Dylan, are you going to the Vikings game? I'm guessing no, because you're not in Minnesota right now.
Yeah, I probably won't go, but I would definitely want to go to a game when I'm out there. That'd be cool. I kind of wanted to go to one last season. I was thinking about maybe going to one of the ones where they played the Packers, but I definitely want to make it my way out there. I mean, we're part of the same team, so
yep.
I would love to go to a Vikings games for sure.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely have to get you guys out. I'm sure you guys will be out here for content or something at different points. Get you out to US Bank. It's a fun time, man. I've been a Vikings fan since 1998. I could go on. But yeah, the stadium's really nice. It's always fun, and I think, we'll be mad decent this year, so it's going to be fun. So the answer is no, but he really wants to. So let's go. Yeah. And actually, the first game is the Packers at home, so it's going to be wild this weekend.
Yeah, that's gonna be a crazy one.
It's going to be crazy. Alex asks, what are some things you do to stay healthy during the season? What's kind of like your routine to just kind of stay on your grind? Obviously, you take a lot of good care of yourself with food and exercise. What do you do like during the season? Is there anything that changes for you during the season to stay healthy?
No, not really. I kind of do the same thing, just like year round, every day. It's just like built-in habits now. But definitely lifting weights like 4 times a week. That's just what I do. I just like it. It's just fun, and it helps with like keeping your head clear. And of course, you get stronger. You look better. There's so many other benefits that come with it. But like most importantly, you just feel like normal, and then you could deal with all the stuff that has to come with all the stresses of life. So just working out just makes you feel good. It makes you feel happy, and feel like you could just do whatever after. So that's definitely a big thing. And then eating healthy, of course, because once you start eating healthy, you can't really go back and eat unhealthy because you just feel terrible. Like I just had, I think, 4 slices of pizza yesterday, and I woke up and my stomach was in shambles. So like I have a 2 pizza limit max now I set for myself. But yeah, it's just eating healthy, working out, and doing all that stuff just to make sure that you're staying healthy. Because you can't, if you aren't healthy, you can't really enjoy too much or be at your top level playing or anything in life. So it's just a good habit to have, and everyone should do it for sure.
Love it. Love it. Dude, I would, if you made like a workout or diet plan, I would subscribe 50 million, whatever you need. You are like, you're on it. It was like I said earlier, you're in HQ, you got your healthy, like meal prep little thing you're heating up. Like, I just want to be more like Dylan Attached Price, man. I got to do it.
It's easy. I can put you on it. It's easy. Don't worry.
All right. No
problem.
I'll give
you for free.
All right, let's go. All right, next question here. Chad, oh man, Chad the Go? I said that wrong for sure, but what's up, Chad? Favorite Star Wars film? Do you have a favorite Star Wars film, Don?
I've only watched a couple, probably like 3 to completion. I don't even know how many there are, but I guess I like the one where it has Anakin and something, and they're fighting over like a fire pit. I don't really remember. I don't watch all the Star Wars movies, to be honest, but I guess that one with Anakin, is he in it? That's his character's name, right?
Anakin Skywalker. Yeah.
Kingdom,
I like one with him and Darth Vader, I think.
I like. I know which one you're talking about when he was older. I like Phantom Menace. I really like the Sith guy in that movie, like with the double-edged. That was the first time.
I was gonna say, was that the one with Darth Maul, right?
Yeah, with the like the double.
I think I saw that in theaters. That was crazy.
Yeah,
I'm not a big Star Wars person. I definitely don't have a favorite, but whatever one has the one where Vader's in the hallway just like shit blasting everybody. It was awesome, dude. He was just walking down the hallway like just effing everybody up. I don't know which one that was, but I like that one a lot. Man. And now I feel overwhelmed because I've like wanted to get into Star Wars, but there's so many movies and shows and lore, and I'm just like, I'd rather not now at this point. But good question, Chad. We kind of got an answer for you. Darth Maul is sick. All right, this is my favorite question of the week. Not to pick favorites, but Richard really he dropped one here. Who's winning a boxing match between Aches and Clay? So just picture this, Dylan. It's one of those like YouTuber boxing cards. It's I don't know, a 6-round fight. Aches, Clay, they've done all the promotion. They've built up to the fight. They've been training for 8 months. Maybe that's what they're doing now, that they're not going to be on a team potentially. Who do you have winning in like the most, in like the peak performance of both of these individuals? Who wins a boxing match, and is it a knockout?
This is going to be a good fight because I feel like they're complete opposite styles, where Aches will be more methodical, technical. He's going to have some good trash talk leading up. And then Clay's obviously Clay. He wears, he you could see the emotion flowing in when he plays Call of Duty. So I think it's going to be, I don't know. It depends how good Patty's Pete's defense is. If he can look like Mayweather out there and do some nice shoulder rolls, he might have a chance. But Clay just might overwhelm him, man. Clay's a crazy guy, so he just might overwhelm him and get that one shot that he needs to take it. So I think I'd have to go with Clay for this one.
I would go with Aches. We've seen him shove someone at a Call of Duty event. He also has punched a frame.
True.
And messed up his finger at a Call of Duty event. So although Clay talks a lot, I think Aches is the more physical of the two of them and would just like go crazy and do something while Clay was yelling at him. So I think Aches would take it.
Dude, I mean, all due respect, the boxing match would be fun, but I would love this simply for all of the press that would happen before it. I know Aches would be just trying so hard to get deep into Clay's brain and really psych him out. I feel like Aches would win the mental game and Clay might end up winning the fight. I don't know. It's hard to say. Who all right, I'm gonna add my own fan question. I'm a big fan right here. Dylan, if you were on the undercard of like a YouTube boxing event, which CDL pro would you want to fight? Whether it's a bad blood vibe or just someone where you're like, this guy would be a really good fight and we would make a lot of money. Who would you want to fight and why is it Scump? Who would you want to box against?
Well, yeah, we're talking about financially and getting paid. I got to pick the biggest to make the most money, the cash cow, get a payday like Canelo says. So I'd have to fight Seth. No, but it'd probably be accuracy. That's like my best friend. God. So I definitely want to fight him.
Holy cow.
But I know I would win, though. So I don't know. Honestly, anyone. I'd fight anyone, to be honest, in the CDL.
You hear that,
Whoa,
CDL? You're on watch.
I'd fight anyone.
That's
You're on watch,
Twitter.
Other pros. Let's go. Dude, I think I would never advocate for people to box or fight unless they wanted to. And obviously it's so that you can hurt your hands and stuff. So we don't want to go doing that. But if there were like a hypothetical alternate universe where there was like a CDL boxing event,
oh my god,
I would be so in. I would be so hype. It would be awesome. I would want to see, but dude, you versus Scump would be, you might rival like Logan Paul numbers at some point if y'all really did that. But anyway, that's, I mean, hey, it's an off-season episode, guys. We're going off the rails. It's just what happens. But I mean, that's kind of it. Do you have any kind of final thoughts here, Dylan, as we're kind of mid-off season, secured the roster a few weeks ago. The beta's coming out soon. The game drops in, I think it's like about a month, a little over a month. What are your final thoughts here going in the offseason and then obviously going into the regular season next year? What's your final take for the rotation fans?
I mean, I'm just ready to get my hands on the beta, first of all, just to see how the game plays. I'm actually going to LA to, with a bunch of different content creators, some pro players, to play it early, stream it, record it. So that'll be really cool. Hopefully get a look at some Warzone multiplayer, and then the beta drops. So I'm going to be on the grind for sure, just trying to learn the best guns, learn the best maps, and just have fun, because whenever a new COD drops, it's the best time of the year. So that's going to be really exciting. And then just vibing with the team, getting ready for the move to Texas for the first half of the season, and going from there, because moving is never easy. It's always stressful. So I just want to get ready, get it over with, and just be ready for right when the game drops, to get into that mode, the grind mode, and prepare, because the tournaments are going to be a lot sooner. So got to be ready.
Heck yeah. Kingdom, final thoughts from you. Off-season, Rostermania, new season, the feels.
I mean, I'm excited to hear about the rest of the rosters. I think the verdict's still out on Paris and Florida. I know there's a leak that came out about New York, but it'll be interesting to see when those teams actually announce. I think first glance at the new New York team, I mean, there's plenty of other rosters I've seen announced that are better. So it'll be interesting to see where all these teams land and what they do. Also for the New York team, the rumored team, the content's going to be totally different than when they had, Crim and Hydra. So it'll be interesting. Really looking forward to the rest of the rosters being announced. Happy to have Attach back in Minnesota. Really happy for the team, the squad, and looking forward to a great season of Call of Duty.
Let's go. That's my final thought. And I mean, man, I shouldn't even say it because it's not because you're on attached. I'm so glad. My final thought. I'm so glad that we got attached for a third year. We got Cammy, Buck. Dude, I'm still gonna see Cammy's name like in the kill feed and get like PTSD from all the times that he was just going off against people in the CDO. Afro, big up and coming kid, is crazy cracked. And then Vance, I mean, he's been playing probably longer than some of these people, older than he's been playing for longer than how old some of these people watching the stream might be. Like I remember seeing his name back in like Modern Warfare 3 in the EU tournaments. And so yeah, Vance is a old school long timer. So my final thought is I'm just excited to see, all of that combined into what this roster can do the next season. I'm excited for off season, right? It's nice to kind of have a little bit of like all right, like re-strategize. Like I'm talking about on the organization side, like what are our, marketing and merch and content? Like what do those strategies look like for next season? That's something that I'm super deep into right now. And it's just a lot of fun, man. It's good times all around. All right. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching or listening to the podcast. Dylan, do you want to plug anything before we go? Obviously you got your merch, or I shouldn't even say merch company. That sounds like it's more than a merch company. We have your clothing brand, a statement of clothing brand. Sorry about that. Clothing brand. I missed the last drop. I forgot to set my alarm, and I did not get the shirt I wanted. So I'm so sad. I'm hard scoping the next drop. Just give me a little bit of a hint, like okay, it's coming up. I'm definitely gonna be hard scoping and I'm setting my alarms this time. But so you got obviously your clothing brand. Kind of like a streetwear style. Check out a statement of, and then obviously you mentioned like streaming in the beta. Are you gonna be streaming on Twitch and doing your thing?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'll be streaming a lot this month. Twitch.tv/attach. Of course, Instagram, YouTube, all that good Twitter, all that good stuff, fun stuff. I'll definitely be the most active on Twitch or Instagram when I'm like traveling or wherever I'm at. I'll always just post a couple stories. But yeah, big shout out to a statement of. I'm wearing one of the shirts right now. So drop 04. But yeah, next time I'll give you a heads up. A little early access when it's time for the drop, but you don't worry, dude. the drops are getting better and better every single time. So even if you missed out on one, there's gonna be a lot of good stuff coming up. So hopefully we can do another one before the game releases. So that'll be exciting if we could.
Ooh, that's soon.
Or it might be a little after the game releases.
A little after, maybe before Warzone 2 comes out.
Yeah, probably, hopefully. So, but we're getting everything figured out and planned out. But it's an exciting time. It's fun stuff. So everyone go check out a statement of.
Love it. All right, plugs for me and Kingdom is that we'll see you next time on the podcast. Just kidding. It's at Kingdom Soldier with an underscore, I believe, right, on Twitter.
Yep.
MiDNiTE and on Twitter. Yeah, I don't care about my Twitter. Go follow those guys. And that's it, man. Thanks for listening to the rotation. We will catch you next time. Peace and chicken grease. Thanks for watching, guys.